Welcome back to round 2 of this prelim. We're playing against Takahira, so that means we know that they're probably some version of Beans. So the Bolt is not good, but the Spell Pierce, Spell Snare is pretty great. Murktide, because we only have 2 copies of Murktide, I consider Murktide still pretty good, just because it does clock very fast. Doesn't get hit by Prismatic Ending. Alright, that was exactly what we did not want to draw, probably. Another removal spell, but they can still be put to use, so not the end of the world. He cast Preordain. And then missed their land drop. Okay. Well, that is definitely one way things could go. Though we shouldn't be too quick because we might also be missing land drops shortly. So I guess in this spot, probably okay to just shock. We could hit like a Consider. We have Consider. We could hit Seek the Beast and want to cast that. We do hit Consider. Okay. And I think we want to just bin DRC. They could have easily have Prismatic Ending. We just want to find lands. All right, and we find another Murktide. Not a great draw. Not a great draw at all. Another land is a nice draw, though. I think we're considering bolting face here, realistically. And my apologies for the slow play because I'm double queued right now. I was playing a league match in the Discord, and we're trying to finish that out. So that's not ideal, but it is what we're doing. All right. Yeah, so we're just passing here. As long as our Kahira opponent keeps going to discard, we're pretty happy. Alright, yeah, let's just bolt them. Potentially getting this Murktide down could be good. I guess we don't really want to play it and let them Solitude it if they're going to discard. That could be an argument against playing it. The argument for playing it, they've discarded 2 Leyline Bindings. That probably means they have Solitude, right? Yeah, I take it back. Let's just keep passing. Bolting them was fine, though, I think. They hit their land. Lucky. Alright, let's Seek the Beast. This is probably blue-white control, right? So they might even have a counter here. We hit Spell Snare Preordain. Okay, we get a spell off of it. We can start on this Preordain. I guess we actually could have considered starting on the Questing Druid. I think here we're happy with more lands. We have a pretty stocked hand. I think we'll go ahead and play our first Murktide. Leaving an instant in case we get solituded. They have Spell Snare or Counter Spell. We could have Logic Knot. We have the Pierce. Let's Spell Snare this. So now the worst case is they have like land to fairy. We have Unholy Heat. They have Fawn. Okay, that's fine. If they want to counterspell our Murktide, that is okay. We're kind of happy to fight on that axis because we have this Questing Druid also to put in play. They have Leyline Binding. Normally I don't like to fight against these, but my thought here is that we're filling the graveyard for our other Murktide and we have a counterspell to protect it. Okay, they just keep using these fawns pretty aggressively. I feel safe counterspelling back here. With them stuck on 2 lands, I just think they don't have any moves that are very scary. Alright, they do have Prismatic Ending. That's fine. We have a Murktide. Preordain. Ooh, Ragavan is pretty nice also. Let's just start by dashing this Ragavan. Supreme Verdict. Let's just play a 6/6. If it gets bounced, maybe we'll want to replay it as a 4/4 or something. Alright, we win game 1. Nice. So sideboarding against their deck. Blood Moon might be okay. Subtlety is definitely good. Dispute, Fawn, Pierce. Ragavan seems like it's very likely good. Cast into the Fire could be good if they have Chalice, which they sometimes have, but probably don't board that game 1. The cards that are pretty bad, usually the Lightning Bolts are bad, and we can like shave on a Heat or 2. And then shave a Murktide maybe? Because Murktide just dies to all of their removal, basically. I think I like this plan, so let's go with that. Man, I made a big mistake on my other game. I should have just used, I had 2 baubles and I saved one to use with a fetch land, and then the next card down was a Stern Scolding that I really needed. That was bad. Now they have Dothy Voidwalker in play and I'm gonna lose. Alright, we'll submit this over here on this main prelim match. Okay, I really like this hand. I'm pretty sure these builds don't have Ren in 6, and Island turn 1 means they definitely won't have Ren in 6. They could have Stern Scolding here, but let's just jam our Ragavan and see what they've got. Yeah, Island Go actually really feels like Stern Scolding. It makes me really suspect, but I think the upside is too high. Also, I wouldn't really know why they would want Stern Scolding in their deck against us. Oh, it's just Lorien revealed. Okay. They pass back. So Ragavan's gonna get to hit. That's good news. Oh. They solituded. I don't think we actually care about that. I probably should have thought longer before I let it resolve, but that's not really where we're most worried. We just want to stop them from getting any major 2-for-1s. And they probably do have Counterspell up with their Solitude, I would assume. Alright, so we got a Bobble off the Seek the Beast. The Snare is actually pretty interesting here because it effectively blanks them from using Counterspell this turn. Or if they... Okay, so they do use Counterspell anyways. Which tells us they're trying to set something up. The question is what? Right, the question is... Or they just don't understand how Seek the Beast works. And now they're like, oh my god, I can't believe I've done this. They have Fawn? Okay. Yeah, they're playing this very aggressively. And I'm not sure why. But I will not complain. Alright, Iteration on top seems good to me. See what they've got. Another Fawn. I think Fawn is just not a card that you'd really want to... Well, actually, shh, don't tell people this. Don't give away our secrets. I take it back. Fawn is great against Murktide. Wink, wink. So their last card is Fawn. If we find a land here, we can Iteration. Otherwise, I think we shouldn't. So let's Bobble ourselves. I mean, Bobbling them is also... Oh, I mean, we shouldn't Iteration anyways, right? We just know that they have Fawn as their last card. Just hold up Counterspell to avoid something like Jace resolving, which would be pretty disastrous. Alright. They drew another land. And we drew a land. It may have been reasonable to have played that expressive iteration and bait out their fawn those couple turns ago, but I also think it's reasonable to just wait and play it safe when we have such a big advantage here. Really try to avoid, worst case scenarios where they're able to stick a planeswalker. I think that's the only way we lose here. If they'd have Narset, maybe they have Days Undoing. That could get us. Breeding Pool on top seems good. I'll just shock Breeding Pool. Play Questing Druid. The risk here is if they have another ring, we can let this happen. Do we want this land? I mean, it is somewhat tempting, I guess. Probably not. We're probably just going to go Murktide, hold up Counterspell, right? Hit them for 3 here, and then next turn we hit them for lethal. Preordain. I think that disputing this could be heads up in case they have Supreme Verdict as their last card. We still have the Counterspell up. And I think just on like one land, there's nothing they can do. So this is essentially a hard counter on the Preordain. And then, yeah, we have Counterspell up, so we should be good here. Yeah, I think that if they did have Supreme Verdict, we'd still be in a very good spot, but it would let them back into the game, and we should just put the game away now, I'd say. All right, and we can just Counterspell this, and that's game. All right, so we are 2-0 in this event. Sorry for the spoiler if you're watching these matches out of order, but you should be watching them live in the Discord with all of our Patreons, so that's your fault. All right, we're 2-0. 11 matches left. All right, do we do it again? Modern League? Get double queued again. So we lost that match because of my mistake where I didn't crack a second bauble, and they played Dothy Voidwalker on turn 2. The top card of our deck was Stern Scolding. It was just correct to crack the second bauble because like a Lightning Bolt, a Scolding, a Spell Snare, all were very live draws. We had too many live draws to like save our bauble for marginal value scrying there, I think. Too many the counters is the big issue, right? Because like Bolt is still a live draw, but we have 2 Snare, 2 Stern Scolding in our deck that lose relevance if you let them get under it. So I think that was completely on me. And actually we would have definitely won, or not definitely, but we would have been in a very good spot that game if I had cracked the bauble. Their clock would have been a lot slower. We did eventually answer the grief. And we would have stabilized around like 10 life up a card or even on cards. Okay, up against Love My Hair. I think this hand's a keep. We don't have a removal spell, but we do have a spell snare, which is pretty nice. And they keep a one-lander, probably, if they lead on Fiery Islet. I always notice when people play their pain land, it's usually the last land a player will pay, so the last land a player will play. I don't know if that's what I said the first time or not, but... I guess we probably want to leave up Spell Snare here. I don't even know what decks really play Fiery Islet these days besides Murktide. Alright, we'll leave up Spell Snare. Okay, it is Murktide. The old turn 2 Ragavan is a little bit scary here for us, honestly. Spell Pierce or Preordain. Okay. Alright, DRC is dead. Lots of good hits for the opponent now. This Ragavan is very scary. Subtlety's not one of them. So we buy ourselves a turn. Well, I think what we're playing towards here is like, oh, maybe we messed up. Maybe we're supposed to iteration. Yeah, I think what we're playing towards is like a big Murktide, so a 7/7 Murktide ideally. Seek the Beast doesn't really help with that. We let it resolve. We find a heat. I mean, I think we should go for the heat. And then if they counter the heat, we can Preordain looking for a land and then jam Murktide. Oh, maybe they just have another Ragavan? Classic. Yeah, let's Preordain looking for a land here. Untapped land. Sometimes you have to be very clear with your request, or the Bodo gods will come for you. Alright, let's just... I think we'll just kill this monkey in their upkeep then. Expressive Iteration. Let's spell snare it. This Pierce seems very live right now. Okay, here's my 8/8 dragon. They have 7 spells right now, so they can't play their own 8/8 dragon. That's very good for us. They play a 7/7 dragon. Guess that's the next best thing. I'm somewhat cautious of dying to bolts here. I think what I'll do is just pass, see what they do. What they do will be pretty indicative of their hand, I think. So, like, if they attack, we know that they have a plan for our Murktide. We need to be careful. We really don't want them to hit a land drop here because our Pierce is very live. If they hit a land drop, it could get dicey. Shredder. So their plan was just a chump block. I guess let's seek the beast and see what we hit. Unholy Heat. Okay. That works. Preordain. We'll just let Preordain resolve. Alright, fetching. So we got a Steam Vents. I guess if they have Spell Pierce plus Fawn here, we can't really beat that. Well, we can beat that. We would just not attack. So yeah, we'll just set that up. Trigger their Shredder, and in response, Unholy Heat their Shredder. Giving them one less look if they do have the Spell Piercer Fawn. And now they should definitely be dead. Unless they're playing Jeskai Murktide. So the opponent having Shredder is itself a little bit concerning for us. Maybe it means we want these Stern Scoldings. We have Spell Snares though, so it's not the end of the world. Should maybe keep Subtlety in. And board Pierce. They have Shredder, so I think we should cut DRC. How goes the prelim? 7 rounds left. I forgot to stop recording, so this is just a combo match. a bonus match. Yeah, I think we have to keep this, even though it is weak to Ragavan. If they don't have the monkey, this hand is pretty great, I think. I guess it's also kind of weak to Shredder. It's pretty weak to their aggressive draws, and then very nice against the draws that aren't aggressive. There's also the risk of missing on lands, so... I think now we just pass and preordain next turn. Holding up Scolding protects us from Shredder. Potentially Ragavan if they drew that. They just pass. Alright, preordain. Oh, that does not feel good. Maybe this hand was not a keep. I'm pretty comfortable keeping one-landers on the draw with preordain, but that did not work out well. We'll just discard the Ragavan. It doesn't really work towards our plan at all of like making Murktide. That's big. Alright. This is really bad for us. Definitely needed a land there. Alright, we got our land. I think we should preordain for the next one. Knowing that we have Stern Scolding Spell Pierce still, which should protect us from most of their stuff at this point. Like, they're not really threatening a big Murktide quite yet. I think this turn will pass, though. Counterspell plus Spell Pierce could be very potent. They might try to make a move this turn. If they don't, then we can preordain next turn, looking for that land. We still haven't shuffled our decks. We have a lot of non-lands on the bottom, so I'm not fetching, because I want to increase my chances of drawing a land. It's definitely top priority with this hand. If they do move first here, we have a pretty decent chance of punishing them by being able to go like Murktide as a 7/7 with Counterspell up. So we definitely want them to do something here. But they don't. Okay, fair enough. Man. We just go to discard again. It feels like we are. Maybe we're not, though. I think we're just... Yeah, let's just go to discard. I think it's more valuable to have Counterspell up. Let's just counterspell this. Knowing that we can max a Murktide next turn, they pierce it. I mean, it's pretty good for them, but if they get to max a Murktide here, we're pretty much losing. Now they can max a Murktide. So yeah, the pierce was very good because it was their 8th non-create or instant sorcery to put in the yard. Ragavan's fine though. Mostly. A land here would still be really nice so that we could have counterspell up. Alright, here's my 8/8. Oh, they have subtlety? Alright, well, we have counterspell. I mean, this Murktide might just end up trading Ragavan plus Unholy Heat. So it's not really ideal, but we could take the hit. Hope to dodge. That might be the higher EV play. If we know we're trading with Unholy Heat, how do we feel about that? It's pretty bad if they have their own Murktide, they're just playing an 8/8 here. And then we would really need our 8/8. If they have Unholy Heat here, also bad. But if they have Unholy Heat and we take it, maybe we're just winning. I'm going to take it. Roll the dice. I mean, it's pretty clear they have the Unholy Heat, so let's just hope they don't hit another removal spell. They hit an island, okay. That's a brick. They have a handful of cards. Very interesting. They're not doing anything here. Might suggest they have a lot of counters. They definitely almost... It feels very likely they have Unholy Heat based on the attack with Ragavan. That would have been a pretty good bluff if they didn't have the Unholy Heat. I think we can iterate here. Yeah, I guess if we have them on a lot of counters, we should just pass with the Druid up, huh? That was bad. Just pass with the Druid up is best. Like, upkeep, seek the beast. Probably puts us in a decent spot. I think we are in a decent spot, though. We have to fade one more Ragavan hit, but... The hits are kind of dwindling, I guess. I don't know if that's the right word, but... Alright, Bobble's fine. Bob will target me. Evoke Fury plus Unholy Heat's incoming here. Do we board under subtleties? One subtlety is in. I guess we Seek the Beast. Could hit subtlety. Oh, they have counterspell. Okay. I'm kind of surprised they didn't go for Hardcast Fury. That would have been pretty good for them here. Oh, wow. They had bolts? Oh, that's pretty sad. Oh, they get one card back. I guess let's dash our monkey. Okay. We can consider. What if we just go top so that we know that their Ragavan is missing when it attacks us? Maybe they're smart and they don't attack. Or maybe they're greedy and they do. They could have drawn a removal spell. They have less answers to Expressive, so I think we should just go for that here. And then I'm going to leave up Counterspell over playing Ragavan. Seems like they're drawing a lot of lands. This round's almost done. Oh, this would be perfect timing, I think. Okay, I thought they would have that, but it's okay. Alright, we'll get our last fetchable, the Breeding Pool. Speed's not going to do much here. Spell Snare. Ugh. Okay. Well, we're kind of parity here because we have a lot of dead cards in our hand. More dead cards. That is the weirdness of Spell Pierce in the matchup. Together we can make them pay 7, which they can actually just pay, so yeah. This is becoming anyone's game, though we have the Seek the Beasts, so I think we have more card advantage than they do, ultimately. Hearse. I don't think we need to counterspell this. We can just counterspell the creature they play. Do we want to flash subtlety in? I think the answer is no. Alright, we can seek the beast. We'll do it on their end step, or in response to a spell they cast. Counter spell. Let's start scolding this and see if they bite. I mean, I guess we can just use all of our free counters. Make them use up all their stuff. They're afraid to fetch. Okay, we converted 3 counters for 1. Sounds like a good deal, doesn't it? And we find a bunch of nothing. The fetch does nothing. The bauble can do something. Though they don't know the fetch does nothing. So we'll play the fetch. The fetch, actually, we could bauble ourselves and get some info. We could bauble them. Probably even more valuable. They have Unholy Heat. Okay. We have Odawara channel? Ooh. Alright, we play a Druid. If they play a creature, we have to subtlety it. Alright, awesome. We got the win there. Alright, I'll see you guys in the next prelim match.